Yes, go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on in here, man. Let's get it ready to go, man. G. Bush back at it. Let's get it going. And you know, this is bittersweet a little bit. Bittersweet. This is the last episode of the barbershop. Last episode of the barbershop. But it's not really the last episode of the barbershop. The barbershop, as constituted, as you can kind of see here, you know, the theme and everything is, you know, talking about the barbershop, keeping it real, the same format. We're moving to the Ultimate Brown Show. Ultimate Brown Show is going to debut next week. I'm super excited about it. Ultimate Browns will be on Mondays and Fridays from 5 p.m. to about 5:30. So you get an opportunity to watch these episodes. I'm looking forward to having a lot of your favorite Browns players from the past. The format will change a little bit. You know, we'll talk about some different things in Browns history. You know, it's going to be a show that you want to watch. You know, I used to do Locked On Browns last year. And, you know, I really enjoy doing Locked On Browns throughout the year because it gives me opportunity to kind of break in. And it's a change of pace, man. I'm one of them dudes that you know, I like to have a change of pace and do different things. So the Browns, Ultimate Brown Show is going to be getting me opportunity to be an extension of the Browns fans. I'm one of the biggest fans of the Cleveland Browns. So we'll get to follow the Browns throughout the season. And sometimes we don't get an opportunity to do some of the things I really love, like taking deep dives into sports. Like, I want to talk about Senior Bowl. I want to talk about the draft. We're going to be very heavy on those things in the draft and bringing you some clips of some of the candidates and the guys that you should be looking at, you know, for the Cleveland Browns. Also talking to some of the Browns greats. Some of the guys for the past, you know, have an opportunity to interview those guys, telling their story. So we're going to do it up, and the Ultimate Brown Show is going to be awesome. We got the Ultimate 216 Show with Earl the Pearl. We got the Ultimate Guardians. They're going to have a host for that. And then make sure you're checking out the Ultimate Cavaliers podcast. I'm really excited about this with Jason Lloyd and Mike McNuggets. That's going to be a good one, too. Because, you know, we don't get a chance to talk about, you know, some of the things we want to get to. So it's going to be a pretty good, joint right there. What's up, Mr. King 562 or Mr. Kush? I see you. I see you, G Kush. I see you, man. So yeah, what we're going to get into today on our last episode. I don't want to sound like too short or anything. We're going to give you an off-season preview. I feel like this rolls right into what we want to get into with the Ultimate Browns coming up on Monday. Because now it's an opportunity to talk about what's going on specifically with your Cleveland Browns. And first and foremost, I'll say this: the Cleveland Browns is always good to get your ducks in a line in order, right? So, you know, some of the main things that we're going to be talking about moving through this offseason, and I'm going to give you 3 burning things today. 3 of them things. I'm going to give you 3 burning questions the Cleveland Browns need to answer. As this offseason goes along. We'll do that coming up. We'll also talk about free agency. We're going to talk about some of the guys that you guys may want at certain positions. You already heard me. Operation Stockpile is in full motion. We need a couple of guys. We need a bunch of guys at receiver. I need to see that. And also, we got some question marks about who guys you want to bring back. I'm going to throw some names out to you. And we'll actually take a look at the salary cap to see which one of these guys and how much they are costing the Browns. We're going to have to talk about restructuring a lot of guys. I know we talk about that a lot on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, but we're going to do today. We're going to actually take a look at some of these cap penalties and some of these caps that these guys have as well. And then you're going to hear from a couple guys. Joe Marino was on with me and Bull. We did an interview with him talking about, what does Ken Dorsey bring to the table? What is his thoughts on that marriage between him and Deshaun Watson, who's calling plays, et cetera, et cetera. And you hear with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, one of the burning questions is, what are they going to do with the quarterback? What are they going to do at backup? Is Joe Flacco going to be back? He's not going to be back. We'll get into that as well. I got a little clip for you. And I'll tell you what I think. You know, I've been a big fan of Joe Flacco, but I might be changing my mind about something. And I'll tell you about that coming up here in just one moment. As always, follow us at GBush91 on Twitter. Follow us at GBush91 on Twitter. Make sure you get your comments in. We'll talk to you soon as well. But let's get into our first topic, man. First topic of the day. We go over the 3 burning questions for the Cleveland Browns in the offseason. And we go to the Browns offensive makeover. The Browns offensive makeover is the biggest thing that we will be watching in the offseason. We've already heard, the internet went on fire when we talked about Deshaun Watson and 15 scripted plays. People going back and forth. Deshaun Watson has replied to Adam the Bull, all kind of. Adam the Bull said, I said it. G. Bush really wouldn't have said it. So we'll get to that. Kevin Stefanski, you ain't told us if you calling plays or not. We split 50-50 on this. Ken Dorsey, the new quarterback coach. Let me give you a clip real here. This is Ken Dorsey. Not Ken Dorsey, but this is Joe Marino on the Locked On Bills podcast. And he talked about what Ken Dorsey brings to the table. Who is he exactly as a play caller and a scripter? And what does he like and don't like about Ken Dorsey? And hang tight. We'll get to you guys in a moment. But this is Joe Marino with me and Adam Bull just about a day ago talking about Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, there's a lot to get into with this. And Ken Dorsey obviously had a big job filling the shoes of Brian Daboll when Daboll left to become the head coach of the Giants. And he was Josh Allen's preferred choice to be the offensive coordinator. And then I think you just saw a lot of mixed results. You look at his first season, and there was some good, but then down the stretch, they really became this low-efficiency offense that leaned into these throws down the field, and it was low-percentage throws left and right, and there was an offense that was completely reliant on big plays. And then you move into the next season, and you try to become this 12-personnel offense, and you try to become an efficient offense, and you just don't have the big plays. And so I felt like throughout the entire year and a half that Ken Dorsey was the Bills offensive coordinator, the team really had an identity crisis where they couldn't figure out exactly what they wanted to be. And I could appreciate how multiple they tried to become. The problem was there was just no bread and butter that they can lean into, and you saw some streaky moments, and it was overall inconsistent. I think that he deserved to be fired, and I think that the proof is in the pudding in how much different the team looked under Joe Brady. And it's not that I don't think Ken Dorsey's a fine offensive coordinator. I think there's a certain style of offense that he wants to run and certain players that would work well with him. I just don't think he was the right coordinator for Josh Allen.
So you see right there, you take it from a guy who watched, you watched with, the Bills, and it's like, it's almost like it's a catch-22 right now with the Cleveland Browns. I think a lot of people are kind of split on what's going on with Dorsey. He got let go in the middle of a season, but you saw his stats compared to what Josh Allen did under his tutelage, and you look at the next coordinator that came in. If you actually look at it, the crazy part about it is you could see that Josh Allen was putting up some pretty good numbers compared to what they were doing at the end of the year. I think the turnovers got to him. And for this hire, it's not like it's clean, cut, dry, clear who should call the plays. Stefanski obviously did a really good job with Joe Flacco. I just think this comes down to something that I think Deshaun Watson said. I think Deshaun Watson has told you a lot in his interviews. He has told you a lot in his podcast, because I think he's speaking more freely because it's just him and his dude. And so when it's just him and your dude, you ain't really giving no canned answers. You really telling you how you feel. When he talked about the scripted plays, he didn't say he hated the scripted plays or he wouldn't run the scripted plays. He just said, I'm not a fan of them. I want to do this, right? You got to believe that if he is in control of this situation, which I believe it is because of Alex Van Pelt. Alex Van Pelt wasn't, he wasn't a guy that was going to be moved on by Stefanski. This was a move made to get Deshaun Watson comfortable. And I think a lot of people, when you heard the names that were available, Kellen Moore interviewed for the job, Dorsey was in for the job, it just seemed like there was not going to be a big splash name that we were going to be, oh, wow, this is great. We're going to take this guy and go to the Super Bowl with. I think this is going to be a situation where I threw the question out, who should call the plays, Dorsey or Stefanski? And as right on cue, as we look at this, let me take this down real quick. Right on cue, people's already in their bag. I throw this question out. Hey, who should call the plays, Dorsey or Stefanski? Joe Ward says starter's going to have to earn him that time. I think you was talking about the Cavs, by the way. But we may Kev calls the plays. Jay Calloway, Kev for sure. And these are just a couple of the names of individuals that say that. To me, I think Kevin, this is interesting. I think Kevin wants to call the plays. I think he might even be a better play caller than Ken Dorsey. But I think this is a decision. This is the decision that has come from the top. This is the decision that is coming from up on high. They have said, yeah, we're going to get a new coordinator. We need a new set of eyes to look at this situation. And I think when you look at it, it's all about, Deshaun Watson. It is what it is. It's all about what he's going to do. It's all about how he's going to move with it. And it's all about this year. We had a big conversation on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show earlier today, and we were just basically talking about, what would it take for fans and individuals to get on board with Watson the way they embraced Joe Flacco, the way they embraced Baker Mayfield. And I said, for me, there's a lot of people that may never really actually accept Deshaun Watson, but he can't worry about that. He got to go out there and play free. I know when Deshaun Watson will play well is when he's out there celebrating. I need to see the bow and arrow. I need to see the celebrations. I need to see the guitar. See, sometimes you just got to be yourself. And this year, it's going to be a lot of pressure, right? You got a new coordinator, but you can't use that as an excuse. And my thing is, for all three of them, nobody said that y'all had to come back and wait till offseason and get together. Nobody's saying that you can't, as a grown man, say, look, let me get Dorsey, let me get Stefanski, and let me get Deshaun Watson all in one room, and let's work with this. Let's work this thing out. And we're going to come in and we're going to put together a playbook that all three of us can agree on, and all three of us are lockstep, and all three of us have a little bit of accountability in. And I think that's one of the reasons and one of the situations that I'm looking for with this trio is that them guys work together and they get it done. It don't really matter what they talking about, how they want to move with it. We got to get it done. We got to get it done. Let's get to some of your comments or whatever. Let's see. He said there's Balmani Bates. My man Chris MS says, hey, what's up, G Bush? What's up, man? Joel says, Kev gonna call the plays as long as it's up to him. And I think that might be a situation where I don't even know if it's up to him, really. I don't even know if it's up to him. I will say this. I think Kev, if it was down to him, I don't think people will have too big of a problem with it. I don't think they don't have no problem with it. When we get back, let's move forward. We're going to get to something that I think is really intriguing here. Joe Flacco. I've been a big fan of Joe Flacco. I've been a big fan of what he did for the Browns. And I was the first one on record saying I bring Flacco back for a 2-year deal. Joe's been doing his media tour lately, and he was on the Dan Patrick show. He said some things that I corroborated with the questions I asked him when we were on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Those interviews are up right now. Make sure you go check out the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. You can check those out on YouTube as well. But coming back, I'm going to tell you why I'm having different feelings about Flacco coming back. It's G Bush here on the UCSS YouTube channel. All right, let me get to my people. My people in Lakewood, Ohio. I gotta go see Jason myself. Shout out to Jason. I got this hat on because I got to get cut up, man. If you want to get cut up and look fresh like your boy G Bush, call Jason to book an appointment today. 216-385-8861. Phenomenal barbershop located at 11827 Detroit Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio 44107. Good atmosphere, family friendly. Bring your wife, bring your son. You can talk about sports. No cursing, no crazy music, none of that extra stuff. All you do is a good family environment. Get your hair cut. Talk about the Browns. Talk about the Buckeyes, and don't worry about none of the nonsense. If you want to hit him up, hit my man Jason. Phenomenal barbershop. It's the barbershop of the barbershop. We back at it, man. We back at it. We're talking about the top 3 burning questions that we have. Top 3 burning questions for the Cleveland Browns. We went over number 3 on the Browns makeover, talked about Dorsey, heard some sounds for Joe Marino, who is actually the Browns, or excuse me, the Bills beat reporter on Locked On. I would say that. Had some really good stuff. Make sure you go check that out as well. He talked about his skill set and what he thought of the hire. Let's get to number 2. Will Joe Flacco be back at 24? Flacco is making his media rounds and has some interesting things to say. This is a clip right here that is courtesy of the Dan Patrick Show. And Dan Patrick asked Joe about that cushy backup job. Isn't that a walk in the park? Joe's like, I don't think so.
What's your status now? Do you know where you're playing, if you're playing next year?
I don't. I mean, you know that. You know I don't know that. Listen, it's a typical offseason. I'm trying to get myself back into it, and I feel so fortunate to have been able to play, for 2 months, as opposed to sitting here right now and getting back into the swing of things in the offseason, and kind of looking back at this season like, man, I guess I'm done. Nobody gave me a call. And now to have that feeling like, okay, I was able to go out there and play, and I think I was able to show that I can still play. So now we'll see what happens this offseason. So I'm excited about kind of the next couple months and what's going to happen.
But would you be satisfied being on a roster as opposed to being able to compete for the starting job?
Right. Listen, I think it's tough to talk about satisfied this and satisfied that. I think, there's part of you that's never really satisfied no matter what. If you're a starter, well, then you're not satisfied with, not winning every single game. And obviously, like the last 3 years, I've been a backup, and obviously with aspirations to play at some point, and I've been able to play some games here and there. But listen, man, once you've played in this league, and once you've played just football in general, like all of us want to play football. So you're never going to be satisfied with sitting around and working hard and not really ever getting an opportunity. So satisfied, yeah, you're definitely not going to be that. I think you have to find ways each day to kind of stay focused and get yourself through those time periods. But you're never going to be satisfied with not playing football. And that's not just me. That's everybody in the league. I mean, you look at everybody probably from the outside looks at backup quarterbacks and like, man, that's a pretty good job. You get to make a couple $1 million a year and you get to sit on the bench and watch the guy go. It's not a good job, man. It sucks. It's miserable. You want to be playing. And not only that, like you get nervous before a game, right? Like when you play and you're the guy, well, you're the guy. And you go out there and you're nervous before the game, but then the ball snaps and you go out there and you have fun and you're just in the moment. When you're the backup, you're literally on the sideline every single play, like still dealing with pregame jitter, pregame nerves. You know what I mean? And you just never get rid of them. And then it's just not fun. So like obviously not having to do that for most of my career, you get to look at that position in a little bit of a different way. And for those guys the guys that you do look at the guys that come in mid game or come in whenever they do, and you got to give them credit. It's not as easy of a job as you want to make it out to be. And you definitely a part of that is the mental part where we all want to be out there playing.
Yeah, that's Joe Flacco, once again, courtesy of the Dan Patrick Show. And, Joe came on, and I followed that up with my own question. I said to Joe, listen, Joe, do you believe you are one of the best 32 players at your position in this world, in this universe? He said, yeah. Didn't hesitate. Of course I do. Of course I want to play. I see myself as a starter. So now you see, for me, the way he talks, and shout out to him. He's just, hey, I love the fact that it's refreshing that, you get guys that speak their mind now. I love the fact that he spoke his mind and talked about, how candid he was. Hey, everybody wants to play. I remember going through that when I was, I spent years being injured. Played my redshirt freshman year, lost my whole sophomore year, played my junior year, lost my whole senior year in college. And it was like it was a point in time where, the coach, the position coach decided to go with a younger guy. And I couldn't blame him because, at that point, if you miss that much time, you're going to go with the younger guy to get him prepared because, hey, you're a senior, you're an upperclassman, and we can't count on you. And being on those sidelines and watching those games, it's a painful experience, man. Anybody that has ever played and is competitive and has played at a high level, you want to play, man. You don't practice. The games ain't what you don't go out there and bust your tail for nothing. You want to go practice. And I think Joe is just saying, like, listen, I can do it, but I done got bit by that bug, man. Listen, when they name him, when they saying Flacco, when they talking to you like that, and you done been to the playoffs again, and you still see that you still got an arm, you still got a skill set, you still get that energy, that flow, man. Listen, once you get a piece of that, you ain't trying to go nowhere. You ain't trying to let that go. You ain't trying to even mess with that, man. So to me, I just don't think. I think as each and every day trickles by, I think Joe Flacco is at least less and less an option to come back to Cleveland. Now, granted, if there's something miraculous happens or he doesn't have any interest, or obviously you're going to be on a roster over not playing. He's not going to tell him, like, if I don't get no call, he's not going to say, all right, I'm cool. I'm trying to be a starter. I'm going to go chill. Nah, he's going to take what he's going to get. Excuse me. However, one thing that he is going to do, I think Joe Flacco is going to be I think Joe Flacco really wants to be a starter. And when you hear that sound and when you hear him talk, you can hear the passion in his voice. And I just think, to me, and I throw this extra on it too. And I said this earlier in the week on UCSS. For me, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is scared of competition, any of that. What I'm saying is, if you're Andrew Berry and you want this season to go as well as possible, you got to realize that bringing Joe Flacco back is a different animal. That's a different situation. You say, what do you mean, G. Bush? And this guy, listen, he's a dude that can play. If Deshaun Watson starts off a game slow, he starts off the season slow, he gets hurt again, you're in trouble. Because people going to be calling for Joe Flacco. They will call for Flacco. And you got to be strong enough as an organization to see if you can handle that. Everybody always say the most famous. I was old enough to remember the Tim Couch, Kelly Holcomb thing. You got in musical chairs. Tim was playing 3 games. Kelly was playing 2 games. Tim come back in. Kelly come back in. I seen it with Derek Anderson and Brady Quinn. DA had that season in 2007, but the Browns go out in the offseason and go get Brady Quinn with a first-round pick. Now what you doing? So there is a downside, and the fans be lying if they say, "Oh, we won't know. We all know Deshaun's the guy." No, you don't. No, come on. Every time Baker Mayfield play decent, y'all be like, "I can't believe the Browns gave up on Baker for Deshaun." What do you say? Let's get to the comments. Let's get to some of these comments out here, man. Let's see. Oh yeah. Hey, DeAndre, see that this is, yes, you're going to get that. You're going to get a G. Bush mock draft. You're going to get that. I'm big on the draft, and I haven't been able to get into it like I want to because there's restraints. We got to talk about trending topics and current topics. We can't get into the minutia of a second and third round, guys. We'll be doing some stuff. I'll get some draft analysts over here. And to be truthful, I'm up for different things. I want to try using video. As you can see, I've been doing some video stuff. I think that keeps it going. Maybe want to put some film work up there. There's restrictions on some of these things, and so I just asked for forgiveness instead of permission. Or I asked for forgiveness instead of being like, hey, can I really kind of do this? I'll be looking around. So yeah, DeAndre, I really want to get into that. So yeah, if you got any suggestions and stuff y'all want to see, make sure the Ultimate Brown Show is going to be the show of the people. That's what we up to. So we want to pull up and make sure that gets done. Papa Smith says, unless he is stripped of his duties, I expect him to call the plays. I do welcome a fresh mind in the room. I do like that as well. Jay Calloway, I said I would love Flacco to back, but I feel like he's going to be a backup. And it would have to be a better situation to play. Hey, G. Bush, This is the watchdog. We met at a tailgate. Keep grinding. Keep it coming, G Bush. We love you. Appreciate you, my man. I appreciate all the dudes out there, man. All the people showing love. Bobo, what's up? Hey, I don't know how to say your name, but it's a cool name though. Ain't nothing wrong with clearing up the cap by trading D4. Hey, listen, Atlanta's not taking that deal. My brother, Atlanta is not taking that deal. Like, they're not doing that. We like our wide receiver. No, we don't. We hate it. Hated it. Look at the history of Deshaun Watson. Putting him at backup never ends well for them. They tried it in Clemson and Houston. The cream rises to the top. Stop the cap. I ain't putting Deshaun Watson on I ain't putting him second. What's up, G? From St. Augustine, Roger Dodger. I see you. What's up, man? Chris MS says, Wido, are we going to cater to Deshaun Watson when he may not be here after 5 years? Won't he be able to hold the Browns hostage when he gets this contract done? Let me show you this. All right, so when we come back, I'm glad you asked that question. 93 people in here hit that like button. When we come back, let's get to this. You asked me a question about Deshaun Watson, right? Can't the Browns be done with him? Let's look at the financials behind this situation. We're going to dive into these financials. I went over to a website called Over the Cap, and it tells you why exactly the Cleveland Browns won't be done with Deshaun Watson anytime soon. We'll also get to some of your receivers. Hey, guys, get me ready right now in the chat. Put me. What receiver you most want that's available in 2024 as a free agent? You are part of Operation Stockpile. You are not going to be my scouts. Tell me who you want at receiver. Go ahead and give me your top three in order. Top three in order receivers available in 2024. We'll come back and talk about that as well. You're listening to G. Bush in the Barbershop on the UCSS YouTube channel. Always talking about my guys from behind the glass, McNuggets, Earl the Pearl, Anthony. They have an episode coming up at 5:00 today, I believe. Make sure you check out, Behind the Glass. Earl will also be doing Ultimate 216, which will be debuting next week. McNuggets will be doing Ultimate Cavs. So make sure you check out all that content. We got a bunch of variety coming for you guys. So if you're sports fans, you love Cleveland, this is the place to be. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification so you get notified anytime we got stuff coming on. And this is all courtesy of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. Now, let's get to this thing with the free agencies. Free agent, this is the number one burning question for me in the offseason. When you look at free agent, I need to know, first of all, what's the number one position? We've already asked you to give our top three to receivers, right? To me, it's a no-brainer. Operation Stockpile is all about getting Deshaun Watson some touches. It's about getting Deshaun Watson the weapons that he wants and weapons that he needs. If you're going to throw the ball, I don't got no problem if you're going to do it. My father always told me, no half-stepping. If you're going to throw the ball up top, you got to have two bona fide receivers. Two of them. If they got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and if we're in Philly, I want something. If they got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in Miami, I want something. You see what I'm saying? If they got T. Higgins and Chase and Cincy, I want something too. We got a guy, Amari Cooper. We need another guy. We need a guy that could get vertical. We need a game breaker. We need somebody beside him, and then we could get the three amigos together. You already know David Njoku had one of his best years ever. There he goes, right there, doing his thing. You already know what Amari Cooper did. Season single game record for receiving. You know what he's able to do. Who do you want? Let's start going down the list of these guys. Let's go down the list of these dudes. And I'm gonna start off with these two. And I think these two is fool's gold. Not fool's gold because they're not good, Fool's gold because I don't think they'll be available. This guy, T. Higgins, boy, looks the part, don't he? Got the visor on, got the white gloves on, big time playmaker, high points to football, good speed. He's a number one on any other team besides Jamar Chase being there. And this guy is lethal. This guy's nice, lethal. And Deshaun Watson was already lobbying for him, former Clemson Tiger. And I'm going to tell you what, if the Browns got T. Higgins, woo, woo. But let me tell you this. I don't think it's going to happen. Not happening. I think the Bengals would be idiotic not to franchise tag this guy. You have Joe Burrow, which is a top 3 quarterback. You have Jamar Chase, which is a top 5 receiver. And now you have a guy in T. Higgins who is borderline a top 10 receiver as well. Why would you not keep them together? Why would you not continue to keep the party rolling? I think they do everything they can to keep him, and he's definitely a guy who is going to, I think, in my opinion, be back in Cincinnati. I don't even think he gets to the I don't even think he get to free agency like that. So they can hit him with the salary cap twice, this year and next year. So shout out to T. Higgins. He's a guy that I would put number 1 on my list, but I would call fool's gold. Fool's gold. Let's get to number 2. Mike Evans. Saw Mike Evans put on against the Lions. I thought he had a nice year. He is a little long in the tooth. He is how old is Mike Evans? Let me check. I should have did this earlier. Get to this. Where Mike Evans at? Mike Evans age. Mike Evans is already 30. He will be 31 on August 21st. That's prior to the season. So, I mean, you 31 years old. He's been very productive. He's been really productive over his time with Tampa Bay. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. You look at his numbers, he's one of the guys that really put on. I've been in the league that long, man. Came in the league in 2014. Last year, played 17 games. That's the thing about Mike Evans. He is very durable. He missed 1 game in 2015. He missed 3 games in 2019, and only missed 1 game in 2022. Played all games this year. 79 receptions, 1,255 1,255 yards, 13 touchdowns. Wow. 13 touchdowns, man. He's he's a bona fide ball player. Yeah. He's done his thing. Baker Mayfield had a career year almost. He's going into the Pro Bowl. So my thing with Mike Evans is this. Would I take Mike Evans? Sure. But tell me why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would not sign him? You got Baker, you're going to have to sign him back. You got to have a quarterback. You got to have a receiver. To me, this is fool's gold number 2 because I just think that they can't play. That's what their game is. The best part of their game is their passing game. They don't have a running game, really. So I don't know why they would not bring back Mike Evans. So check him, Mike Evans, that comes in at number 2 on my list. However, I think it's fool's gold. So now you say, well, all these dudes is fool's gold, G. Bush. Who do you have left? I think the most realistic expectations are the next 3 guys coming up here. Let's start off with the guy that I want the most. Let me know how you feel about it. Marquise Hollywood Brown. Ooh. Finally, if they can land this guy, the Cleveland Browns get a burner, a guy that can move vertical, a guy that can move and make stuff happen after the catch. The dude got electric speed. 4.2s, 4.3s. And the only knock I have against him is I don't really want big. the smallest receivers, there is a downside, like Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore has a very small catch radius. So when you throwing the ball to him, it's little or no room for error. The ball can't be outside of his framework. He does not have a long wingspan, and he's really not even a run after catch guy. He's not slow, but he just doesn't have quick twitch for me. He's not running away from nobody. You look at Marquise Brown, this guy can do it. Let's take a look at his age. How old is he? It's a Marquise Brown. Let me see. Okay. Marquise Brown. How old is he? He is 26. He'll be 27 in June. So he'll be 27 when the season starts. And take a look at what he did. Played 14 games last year. 51 receptions for 574 yards and 4 touchdowns. He missed a lot of time last year. And plus, you got to take a look at who's the quarterback. Dobbs was quarterback. You didn't have Kyler Murray for most of the season. You look at, he only played, he played 12 games in 2022. So the last couple of years, he has not been on the field enough. And the last time he had 1,000 yards, and the only time he had 1,000 yards, is when he was in Baltimore in 2021. He had 91 receptions, 1,008 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So one thing that you have to worry about with him is durability. You got to also worry about production. But I think that if him as a number 2 would look good in the Cleveland Browns uniform, I think that production can get up around 1,000, given the fact that they do have some guys already that you got to take a look at. So that's the guy I want. Let's move on to the other 2 candidates. Calvin Ridley got in trouble for, I believe it was I don't know if it was gambling. It was gambling or the PEDs. I don't know. I forget which one it is. But Calvin Ridley, let's take a look at what he's brought to the table. All right. So how old is he? So Calvin Ridley is he's a little older. He's 29 years old. I know he was that old. He won't turn 30 until December 20th. But he did lose a year. He lost all 2022. After coming from Atlanta, and then he only played 5 games in 2021. 2022, he missed the whole time. And then last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, he played in all 17 games, 76 receptions, 1,016 yards, and 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns is good. 1,016. I like Calvin Ridley. He's a guy who has some speed, can run routes. I think he'll be a good complimentary guy. He's a little older than Marquise Brown, but his production is better and his durability has been better if you kind of take out the suspension of a couple years ago. So he's another individual that is on the very short list of guys that I think can really make a big impact with the Browns. Let's continue to move on. And then last but not least, a lot of guys like this guy, Michael Pittman Jr., right? Really big year. I thought his year this year, he was a really breakout player. And the thing you got to worry about some of those guys, sometimes with receivers, it happens a little bit where they kind of jump off the page a little bit one year. And then you think, okay, well, these guys is going to be able to turn that up, right? They're going to turn up. And they're going to really turn it on and go to that next level, and they kind of like level out. Pittman is a big receiver, 6'4", 223. He's only 26 years old, won't turn 27 into October. So younger receiver. And for the most part, has been really consistent. 2021, he had 1,082 yards, 88 receptions, 6 touchdowns. 2021. 2022, He had 99 receptions, 925 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And then last year, he breaks the 100 reception mark, 109 receptions, 1,152 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Good breakaway speed, good physical receiver, big body. This is another really good receiver that, I think could be very viable for the Cleveland Browns in terms of making that receiving room a lot better, add some size, versatility, could throw the jump ball up to him. So, he's another guy that we're looking at, and make sure you check that out, and make sure, let me know, who do you guys have in your top 3, right? Give me the top 3 that you guys have up there, and we'll talk about that coming up here in a moment. Let's get to this. I wanted to also get to who are we bringing back? Who we bringing back? Because here's the thing. One of the reasons that we got to talk about who are we bringing back is because of the cap situation. And so a lot of times we just throw the cap stuff out there and we kind of like throw it out there and, we just say cap and don't give me any specifics. So this is over the cap. And I basically went on there and checked out some of the guys for the Cleveland Browns. And let me see if I can make this bigger. Can I make it bigger? All right, hold on. Let me take this down. And okay. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. If you can't, I'll read them off. Somebody asked earlier, why can't the Cleveland Browns, they could get out of the contract with Deshaun Watson? Well, if you kind of look at this, they ain't getting out of nothing. You ain't getting up out of nothing. Take a look at that cap number, $63 million right there. Look at the dead money. The dead money, $200 million in dead money. He's getting $46 million a year. And you look at it, the guaranteed salary, $46 million. That cap number is crazy. Like, they got 3 more years, but there's no way, and you know what? It's too punitive to get rid of him, and nobody's going to take that. So this is why I always told people, you can sit here and want Deshaun Watson not to be your quarterback. You can jump up and down, and you do whatever you want. But I don't know very many people that got ponies for Christmas. Maybe you rich or something, but every kid want a pony for Christmas. Man, listen. When you look at the logistics of a pony, you realize as you get older, that was the dumbest thing I've ever said in my life for my parents to get me. The dumbest thing you've ever said in your life is the fact that Deshaun Watson is able to be traded. Stop. Quit. Quit. That don't make no sense. Also, take a look at some of the guys that we talk about. Amari Cooper, right? $20 million, right? You can get rid of him, but look at the dead cap money. You got $11 million in dead cap money, and you saved $12 million. So why would you do that? And also with Amari Cooper, people talk about, Amari, we might need to have him, we gonna get rid of him. No, you're not. Amari Cooper is on this squad for whatever it is. His base salary, $20 million. It is what it is. You're gonna have to eat that because you have not done a good job of drafting wide receivers, and he's the best one you got. Denzel Ward just signed a new deal. We fine with that. I think he's playing up to expectation. Myles Garrett is already here. I always think about this as well. Take a look at this. I find it funny with Myles Garrett in this little look at the guaranteed salary thing right there. He has 0 in guaranteed money, right? Obviously, he's Myles Garrett. He's going to be great. He's going to do it. He's going to get his money. But think about the way the NFL works. Somebody got an argument before, and they talked about it. You only get guaranteed money. Even Aaron Donald, you only getting guaranteed money for 2 or 3 years after your deal. Like, so you sign an extension, and it's a big extension. You might get guaranteed money for 2 years, but the rest of that money is not guaranteed, right? And, it's crazy that's just the way it works. Another talking point that we've had, Nick Chubb is $11 million, doesn't have any guaranteed money, and his cap number is $15 million, right? So, they may want to renegotiate that. They may want to get him around 10. They may want to give him, try to split it up, kick it down the road as well. So those are the big contracts that we talk about. Deshaun Watson is probably going to have to restructure. Amari Cooper, they may go to him and see if they can restructure. Miles and Denzel are good for what it is. Nick Chubb is a guy that we think that is going to have to take a pay cut somewhat and restructure. But let me just say, so where this comes down from, and this is my problem with a lot of people when they start talking about this kind of stuff. Here's the situation. The Browns painted themselves into kind of a situation because if you look at how much these guys are making, Jed Wills is making $14 million here. Joe Bitonio is making $12 million. Jack Conklin, who you just signed for no reason, you got a dead money hit of $27 million if you move on from him. Jack Conklin makes $12 million a year. Wyatt Teller makes $11 million a year. And Ethan Pochich is down here a little bit further. Let me see. Where you at, Ethan? I know you just got a deal. Stop playing around. You got the money. Ethan Pochich is here. Ethan Pochich is they signed him back. He's getting $3 million a year. But look at where the majority of your money is lined up at. Jed Wills, Joe Bitonio, Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller. And the problem is DeJuan Jones is way at the bottom making pennies. Jerome Ford is making pennies. DeJuan Jones right now is making $1 million, right? So he's going to be your future. So, these are the names that you got to watch out for that could get restructured. And then you have to start looking at some of the names of individuals and ask yourself, do you want them back? Zadarius Smith is one of those guys. You look at who else is another guy? Maurice Hurst, Shelby Harris, those guys up front. Do you want those guys back? You got an opportunity to kind of look and see if you want. Joe Flacco is another guy. We talked about that a little bit as well. Those are the guys you got to want back. Also, you look at a guy that if you want to look at trade pieces, Greg Newsome is getting about $4 million. He's a first round pick. He's a guy that could be looked to be moved if you did want to upgrade at some other positions and at the same time save you a little money. You take a look at JOK, who I believe is a superstar in the making. He's getting about $2 million. And so you got to take into account, you're going to have to pay him coming up as well. So this is just a list of some guys that we looked at in front and go in different categories in terms of, the cap and everything else. So just giving you insight into that. Let's go back to, get to, before we close it out, get to some of your comments, and we'll get to that right now. Let's go. Let me see. We got a lot of comments here, so I'm going to try to get as many of these as I can. 133 in here. Make sure you hit the like button. It helps us out. Mr. King 562, they got to give Imani some run tonight. Against the sorry Pistons, I would start him. So crazy. I'm looking forward to the opportunity for him. And by the way, make sure you check out the interview. We got Imani Bates next week coming on the show. So watch your Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Shout out to Steve for getting some of these guests. We've been really getting some top-notch guests. We get Flacco, we get Imani Bates. So hopefully this is the start of us getting a lot more of the athletes you guys want to see. Bobo says, even implying a competition when a guy is clearly a top starter implies that you don't think he's adequate enough. Well, listen, I think Joe Flacco is a different type breed. Joe Flacco could throw the football. I think one of the things that we got to realize is this is not a normal situation. You paying a dude all this money. Obviously, he's going to be the starter. I don't know under what world people thought he wasn't going to be. Andrew says T. Higgins, love him. Rated, whatever that means. Higgins, Mike Evans, DeAndre Hopkins. Thanks for putting Hopkins in there. I thought Hopkins had a nice season too. Went over 1,000 yards with a weak passing game with the Titans. Let's see. Nicole D says T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans. I ain't mad at that. Mike Evans, Pittman, T. Higgins, ain't mad at that. DeAndre Black, Dwayne Bros, Kenny Britt, hey, Greg Little. I hate them type receivers, bro. I hate them, man. The oh my gosh, the medium sauce receivers. Oh my, the Ricardo Lewis's of the world, bro. I don't like you 6'2". No, you 6'1 3/4. You run a 4.57 and you jump a 35-inch vertical. That's medium sauce. You ain't good at nothing. Like your vertical, that shows me a lack of explosiveness. So now that Garland is back and Mitchell has been playing well at Pingler, I guess one guy has to go, huh? Nah, man. Listen, they're gonna need to be on the side. And I need Darius Garland to get off the ball a little bit. He's gonna have to play off the ball a little bit, the way I see it. I want Marty to stay, but not sure that's the thing. If Higgins comes, but the other two big body receiver, we need to actually finish these drives with someone other than Kareem or Chubb. Let's see. Mike Evans, Chris Jones, T. Higgins and Brown, throwing Jarvis. Can the Browns retain Cooper and get another top end receiver? There you go. Yes, you can. Cap is supposed to go up $20 million. You can restructure some people. Yeah, you can get another free agent. They can get one. Esco, I see you. What's up, man? Cody Clark. I want DK Metcalf. Hey, listen, that's the mentality of Project Stockpile. Go for the fences. Free Tilly says, realistically get Evans or Brown. Michael says, something feels off to me about Hollywood Brown. Like he clearly has a skill set, but has never really put up crazy numbers. That's fair. Salute, G. Love your podcast. They're going to get it. All in on Watson. New OCs, go out and get you a great receiver, too, and they'll be fine. Go Browns. Appreciate it, Sean. Appreciate it. Let's see. Let's get to a couple more. Too many drops. Elijah Moore is a third receiver at best. I would love to move him to fourth, too. He had an opportunity all year to show he can get his money off because he was taking all the routes. Let's see. Sean Finnerty. Finnerty. Yeah, you got to slow down with the syllables, G. Bush. I don't know why these guys are so afraid turning 30 years old. I was my strongest when I was 38 years old and my fastest. And I was the best I was going to be at 18. Doomsday Prophet, dollar for dollar. The Conklin deal is the worst in a while. Facts. That Conklin deal gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Aaron says, bro, y'all in this trade Newsome crap. Hey, listen, I'm just letting you know what the tea leaves read. To get big money, you got to play an outside receiver. Martin Emerson is younger than Newsome. If Newsome turns out to be the greatest corner in the world and Martin Emerson is a good corner too, you can't pay both of them. You can't pay both of them. Denzel already the third highest on the team. You don't have $300 million allocated between corners. It don't work that way. Somebody got to go. I mean, you could roll it out and get, but some got to go. Something got to go. Progressive Jesus. We should not trade Newsome, in my opinion. It's hard to get a slot corner cover guy like that. I agree. But my thing is, can you pay him? You know, he's already denoted that he wants to be paid. I'm not saying he's not a good player, and I'm saying that if you could get something for him and you could have equal or greater value at another position, I look into it because here's the thing. 3 corners ain't going to get paid on this squad. It just is what it is. Hey, Diamond Star James, when are you gonna bring back the odd couple? I don't know. Who's the odd couple? I don't know who's the odd couple. I don't know. You let me know. We might get to that. All right, we got about 135 people in there. Hit that like button. I'm going to thank everybody for taking time and showing love and giving the barbershop an opportunity. You guys really helped spawn the Ultimate Cleveland Show. And as I said, this format won't continue. Make sure you go over to the barbershop. Just type in the barbershop and subscribe to the barbershop, and you'll know when I'm doing this show on my own channel. Make sure you check that out. But as far as moving forward, it's all about the Ultimate Brown Show coming up. We'll debut that at 5 o'clock. Thank you guys for already being a part of it. Make sure you tell people about it. You can find that on Mondays and Fridays from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Those who love the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, those who don't get an opportunity to kind of listen to the content because you're at work, you now get an opportunity to listen in the primetime atmosphere, and we'll be doing it here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. With that being said, have a good night. Cavs are on right now. Cavs coming on tonight, I believe. Make sure you check those out. And always, you never know where I'm going to be at. I might be on the radio, television, internet, whatever the case may be. Don't know where G. Bush is going to be at, but you can do one thing. You know where I'm going to be at. Listen for them Clippers. G. Bush. Peace out. Have a good one.